So when someone is stopped in connection with the DUI, the first thing that police officers will usually do is ask them for their identification. You are required to provide police with your identification. There's a couple reasons for that. To make sure that you have a valid license, to make sure that you don't have any active warrants out. And so providing a police officer with your identification, whether it's your license and ID, or giving them your information so that they can look you up, you are required to do that so that they can identify you and make sure that you don't have any warrants out and that you're actively licensed to drive. Once you've given a police officer your license, the other requirement is sometimes, and this isn't a same thing, it's a general concept, there are always exceptions, is that police officers do have some latitude to ask people to step out of the car, and that can be for officer safety. So the law gives police officers some latitude when they believe that someone may be in a situation that they can't respond to a threat, to get that person out of the vehicle, pat them down for weapons, have a conversation with them away from the vehicle so that someone can't access weapons or do anything that could jeopardize the officer's safety. And so officers do get a little bit of leeway when they're asking someone to step out of a vehicle because there's an officer safety concern there. So if an officer asks someone, hey, would you step out of the vehicle? Generally, you are going to have to do that and go with them. So those are the big obvious things that you usually have to do in every encounter. After that, pretty much most things become voluntary in terms of questioning. So once an officer gets somebody out of the car and decides to start asking them questions, where are we coming from? Where were you going? How much have you had to drink tonight? All of those questions are voluntary. You do not have to answer questions. You never have to incriminate yourself. So if you provided your identification, you've complied with an officer's request for their own safety to get out of the vehicle, at that point, you don't have to continue to answer questions. You don't have to do field sobriety tests. You don't have to do anything at that point that's going to incriminate yourself. And this will change a little bit if you are arrested, and we'll talk about that. But just for purposes of while you're talking with a police officer and you're being investigated, you are not required to answer incriminating questions or to do the field sobriety test.